Today we're going to make something from the new Occasions catalog. We're going to be utilizing the Botanical Blooms stamp set and the Botanical, the coordinating designer series paper. So I've made a variety of different cards using some different sentiments. These particular sentiments are from the Sprinkles of Life set. And the one I'm going to be working with today is I'm So Lucky to Call You My Friend. So we're going to start out with our card base. I'm going to put these aside, which is soft suede, and it's the 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, cut in half and scored at the 4 1/4 mark. So that's our card base. And you can use Tip Top Taupe. You could use the Delightful Dijon, and the Cajun Craze and Mossy Meadow all coordinate with this set. So we're going to be using a sheet of Mossy Meadow, and this is one piece that is cut 4 7/8 by 3 5/8. Our designer series paper is cut, let's see, 4 3/4 by 3 1/2. I'll have all these dimensions on my website or on my blog. And then we also are going to need a strip of the Mossy Meadow in 1 1/2 inch by 4 inches. So we're going to start out by grabbing our Mossy Meadow stamp pad. And from the stamp set, we're going to use the center of 2 leaves, and we're going to actually stamp on top of the designer series paper. So I'm going to use Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to use Memento Black. The Memento Black is going to be the circular stamp, and that's going to go in the center of the flower. So I'll show you how I've done this. Gone ahead and I'm going to load up my ink pad, and I'm only going to do 1 leaf and 1 flower, so you get the feel of it. I'm going to stamp right on top of this one, right there. And then I'm going to grab my black, and I'm going to do my flowers. And you will do this for however many leaves, however much dimension you want to add. So you can kind of see the difference there. Okay, once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and set my designer series paper aside, and I'm going to keep my Mossy Meadow out. I'm going to grab my sentiment and a scrap sheet of the Whisper white paper. And by scrap, I mean scrap, because we're going to be using the large oval punch to create our sentiment here. So I'm going to take this scrap of paper, and I recommend stamping first and then using your oval punch. It's a small, even though it's called a large oval, it's a small oval, so I like to stamp and then cut it out. Okay, so I have my sentiment, and with this I'm going to use this upside down so that I can see where it's going to go and kind of center it there and then cut it out. So there, I've cut my sentiment out. I'm actually done with my stamping. So I'm going to put this aside. And now I'm going to create the center tag for the center piece of my card. And I'm going to grab my strip of Mossy Meadow. I'm going to grab this scalloped edge tag punch. And I'm going to work with this upside down. And here is the reason. Let me see if I can get a good shot of this for you. The strip is not to the exact width of the tag. So if I put this in and just kind of snap away, it's not going to cut it correctly. So I'm going to get it. I'm going to move it up to here so you can see it and kind of center it in the middle of the scallop there. You can kind of see where I have my edge right there lined up with the dip right there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do both sides, and when I'm done, I'll have a strip that looks like this. To create a little more dimension, I'm going to grab a piece of linen twine or linen thread, and I'm going to wrap this around my tag through the holes that have been created. There is no right or wrong way to do this. You can wrap it 3 times, 2 times, once. We did this card in my club and somebody tied a bow, and I really liked the bow a lot better than my just simple wrap. So it's totally up to you how you want to do it. So once you've gotten that secured, and I just tie it, I don't glue it, you'll wind up with something like this. And I use the stamping dimensionals. I just put 2 on the back of my oval, and I'm going to orient my sentiment like this. I'm going to peel off my back of my dimensionals so I can put this on. And I'm going to put this on a little crooked this time. Okay, so I have that like that. And I've gone ahead and added 2 dimensionals on my back here. And I'm going to set this aside. Taking my adhesive, and it's any adhesive of your choice. You can use your glue stick. I'm just using the Tombow adhesive here. It's whatever you prefer. I'm going to attach my stamped designer paper onto my Mossy Meadow, and then I'm going to take my adhesive again, and I'm going to put it right on my card base. And that card base was the 8.5 by 11 cut in half and then scored at 4 1/4. And now is where you can choose which way you want to orient the card. For this particular one, I think I'm going to orient it this way. I did the Thanks a Bunch also from the Sprinkles of Life, and I oriented the card differently. So it's up to you which way you want to do it. And then I'm just going to peel back my dimensionals and glue it on, and my card will be done. So there we go. So there's my I'm So Lucky to Call You My Friend card using the Botanical Designer Series paper and the Botanical Blooms. And remember, this is celebration time, so for every $50 you spend, you get to pick an item for free. If you have any questions, you can contact me, and make sure you check me out at www.myredtrack.blogspot.com. Thanks for joining me.